Hi guys, we're here, we're ready, and Invictus Launch Week is killing my frames. Okay, this is probably not the best image. We're here, the music is pumping, everyone's excited, I am fucking ready to go! It's Invictus! Yeah! We got the ships! We have got Invictus has once again started. That's right, we have got every kind of ship imaginable. We've got the Crusader C2. My phone's going absolutely mental. Yes, I know phone, it's Invictus week. Keep your pins on. I need you to communicate. Let's get going. So yes, today is Invictus Launch Week. We have finally gotten ourselves to it, and we shall proceed onwards. I honestly thought I was getting it wrong. So yes, 2953 has begun, and we are ready to kick off. If you've not done Invictus Launch Week before, you have absolutely no idea what you're on. Welcome to one of the bigger events in Star Citizen. My personal opinion, I prefer IAE, as that kind of is the big showcase. But this is all about the DAKKA. This is all about what you guys want to go into the verse and kill shit with. In terms of lore, there's actually a really good section on the lore. Basically, to sort of squish a large amount of history down, the Invictus Flight Week is basically a celebration of the UEE getting new recruits into the United Earth Empire Navy, while also allowing new recruits who have basically done their training to go out. And it kind of comes from a symbolic level, because during the First Tavaran War, there was a massive sort of conflict, which is the Tavaran War, which was a massive sort of conflict going on. The ship known as the United Planets of Earth, United Nations of Earth, or something along those lines. Basically, the Invictus flew took basically the first recruits into the Victus base on Mars, and eventually becomes the official sort of thing. Following the measure regime, basically, Ivo Messer formalizes Invictus as a government-recognized yearly event. So, bit of a jump between the two, but basically during the First Tavaran War, humanity needed recruits, and the Invictus was the place to get them, and it was a really awesome event. We have got quite the lineup for you today. We've got Misk. For the first time, Misk is taking a front row seat, and with the new company Mirai, which is not just a racing faction, though admittedly I think that currently there's a few ships, which are primarily to do with military style, racing style, but this particular off-brand of Misk is going to be incorporating some of the new fancy stuff, including a new ship, which I have yet to see. I know everyone's talking about it, and I'm probably going to be watching videos after recording this, but I've been doing my due diligence to not look. I want to have as blind a view as possible. And of course, we've got Crusader Industries. Yes! Crusader Industries has taken the floor with Misk as well, which is going to be pretty cool. But I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of looking towards this because I have got plans for both this day and this day. We've also got plans for the remaining day, which has a lot of people. Admittedly, a lot of these guys aren't militarily focused. I'm very much surprised to see the Origin. Well, to be fair, Origin does have a very tenuous link between military, so that's fair enough. But no, for anyone who's not played this game before, and this is kind of curious as to what you want, if you want to see both what this game is like in terms of gameplay, but also the level of depth in lore, I would seriously suggest that this event is well worth going into. So without further ado, let us have a crack at this. And to be honest with you, it's been a few years since I've done this, and I can actually legitimately say that, and also feel old. God. But yes, Invictus Launch Week, a fantastic event to take pride in the United Earth Empire. We've got all of the big fancy pants ships. Oh, it's beautiful. And we've got some pretty awesome images there as well. All the different distinctive service. And this is the pledge, a naval oath that all new members of the UEE will play. And it does represent quite a decent thing. You've got the military police. You've got technically Fleet Admiral, but all military police. You've got the mechanic. You've got the pilot. You've got the doctor. You've got the flight assistant. You've got a whole host of things. So, united in purpose, which is the Really awesome concept, and you've got the different shirts as well. So you can actually get some pretty decent memorabilia, which, to be fair, I do actually want to get some of these memorabilia bits. I will buy one of these shirts because why not? I would. Jesus Christ, 1,300 credits. Jesus. Expensive much? A little bit worried we're getting a 30k now. Ah, nope. Just a bit of a delay.
And welcome to the Bevic Convention Center, ArtCorp's leading destination for live events and refreshing fun.
Having a nice little drink. Right, well, I'll deal with that in a second. So we have to us some free water and a very nice intro segment. I don't think we have the, oh no, we do. We do. I really like seeing that every time. I really do like seeing that. So a few models of some of the ships we've got. We've got the crew. We've got the Cutlass. Well, it's a Cutlass Black, but that looks really nice. What version of the Cutlass Black are you? That does not look like a Cutlass Black I'm aware of. We've got VTOL jets on here, as well as on here. What is... Are you seriously having a fucking announcement about keeping the litter clean? Oh my god. That's quite classic, I'm not going to lie. So we've got this stealth variant of the Hornet. We've got the Retaliator bomber. But we've got this really interesting version of the Cutlass Black. I've never seen a version like this before. It looks sleek. Really sleek. It looks really sexy. I would love to know what this ship is. Sorry, I'm getting distracted, but I am really fascinated by that ship. That looks like a really good-looking ship. I reckon that's probably an early concept of the Cutlass Black. Yes, a Star Citizen. Very enthusiastic as well. You know what? Fucking well done, lass. You can do that whilst wearing heels. I'm impressed. So, yes, going into Invictus Launch Week, you'll be going into these particular areas with... Ah, that's so cool. That's really fucking well done. You get to go into your favorite... Basically, you get to go having a look at your different sort of shirt collection / fanboy stuff. And while I am actually kind of liking the color for Misk, I'm kind of surprised, actually. I didn't think they'd actually do some decent shirts. I am kind of also wondering where the Argo guys are.
Keeping the convention center a stim-free environment.
Stim-free. Fucking hell. Ah, there we go. Right, let me go buy this t-shirt, because it's Argo. I love Argo. See, I love how the game lets me buy Argo. No problem. I'll buy a hat as well. Okay, so apparently my character... needs to be more or less naked. Naked. Okay, I'll just buy the hat. Thank you very much. There we go. There we go. And where be my Crusader lads at? Normally I don't tend to hang around these areas much, just because it's just the intro segment. But whenever they do it, it's so rare that they do it now at Area 18. I love doing it at Area 18. It's such a good event. Oh, nice. I'm definitely going to get this. To be fair, I kind of wish I could get this from in real life. To be fair, I think it can. This is, to be honest with you, this is probably one of the few games where they can mark it in-game, and then you can probably get it in real life. Ah, there it is. Right. Crusader. Ooh. Yes, buying the Crusader shirt. This is a bit of an extended introduction. But don't worry, we're going to be having our usual spiel next time. So yes, the Invictus Launch Week. We've got a few wonderful little things here and there. We've got our fair share of ships and whatnot. But as I said, this is the awesome thing about this game. You can actually have a lot of fun playing for that one. So there we go. Right, let's get to it. So, have a look at this. This little bit here. This is awesome. Tribute to a naval rescue in Vega. This is really cool. I love this. It's a really good image there. I love it. You can just imagine someone just being able to save you. Perfect. And as you can see, there's a whole recruitment section for the UEE's naval forces. I do kind of wish I was... I look forward to being able to sign up for that. And then, of course, we have the 999. Squadron 999. They are incredible. They're basically the squadron that tests everything and also has some of the best looking ships. And they also do stunts. They have a lot of awesome stuff. They are wonderful, and I do love it. I fucking love this event. I'm so excited. You can tell my ability to rationally deal with stuff. I'm just like, right, here we go. Here we go. Here we fucking go. Oh. They've got the same bloody display as well. Nice. To be fair, it makes a lot of sense considering, ooh, Invictus Launch Week. Yeah, so I'm going to say as well, unfortunately, due to the fact that we're on, you know, everything's kind of going to be busy now, as well as the fact that my computer is, while doing its best, and it's not quite perfect. So I apologize for the frames. Unfortunately, my rig is not a god tier machine. Some days the patch will be better. Also, some days the servers will be better to me or nicer to me, and other days it won't be as nice. But there we go. One Empire, 2953. And we are very slowly, and unfortunately poorly framed. I think it's because of the bloody holographic display in the background. Oh boy. Yeah, my frames are getting better now that I'm getting further away. So, here we go, And as always, let us have a look at the map display right in front of us. So, we've got a nice little sort of variety of things with Invictus Launch Week. Mr. Man who is just levitating. Right, so we've got not a huge amount of ships to work with, but that's fine. We can actually go with that. So, here we go. Nice. So, as you can see, we've got a whole host of different ships. We've got the usual routine of going around the different halls, and I'll be talking in brief about a variety of the ships and my personal opinions on the ships themselves. We've also got the new lineup for the Mirai series, which I am very, very curious about. So, as you may know or may not know, I basically roll around the station talking about the different ships, having a look at these wonderful vessels, and talking about my personal experiences with them, and also improving my ship knowledge with every time I go there. There's a point where I actually was rolling around, not knowing what the hell I was talking about, and then I finally actually did some research on some of the ships I was talking about, and the options for talking about them, and expansions. It's just lovely. And also, it's a great thing. I tend to look at these particular things as a kind of archive to talk about the things that, well, in one particular patch, for example, I was talking about, say, when the Carrack came into effect, or when the Crusader Industries Hercules first came on the scene. You know, those kind of things. And I kind of feel like talking about what ships are, I kind of like to look back at them and go, yeah, that was a good ship, or, oh my god, we fucking hate that thing. So, without further ado, let us get cracking on. This is the longest introduction I've done for it. Normally I tend to go a bit quick, but hello, I don't care. I'm really buzzing with this one, and I hope that you can at least appreciate the passion I have for this. So let's get started with the Ares Ion. This is a beautiful medium/heavy fighter from the Crusader Industries, the first dedicated combat craft of Crusader Industries. Normally, Crusader Industries, in terms of lore, don't really like to make weapon platforms. They make military variants of their ships, but normally they don't make dedicated military platforms. However, with the recent issues going on in Stanton, along with a few other sort of issues in terms of contracts and whatnot being affected because of the whole, you know, we don't really have anything to shoot people with, Crusader Industries finally has decided to throw in the towel of the pacifist and come out with a pretty nice looking weapons platform. And this weapons platform has two variants, which is nice. This being the Starfighter Ion, is basically, kind of as the name suggests, it is an energy-based heavy fighter. It has a size 7 laser weapon, which is, well, energy weapon, which is nice. And the purpose of this particular vessel is it's designed to fuck with the shields of any particular capital ship, which is pretty nice. So, you know, larger ships, say, for example, like the Idris, the Javelin, even certain ships like the Caterpillar, if you're wanting to bully someone, you've basically got a whole host of vessels, and this particular ship is designed to fuck with said vessels. Sadly, isn't really good for dogfighting, but if you want to smack someone's shields off, then this will do the job, as you can see by the very nice looking trailer. And I'll be hopping into the cockpit on the other side. This one, This particular ship, which is actually one I own, though I won't be keeping this one. Surprisingly, I know it's kind of sad, but in all honesty, the problem I have with this ship, and don't get me wrong, it is a fucking beautiful ship, and I love it. And this particular version I have, of course, I'm talking about is the Ares Inferno. The Inferno is basically got a size 7 Gatling gun, and when the ship was announced, everyone was like, A10, A10, A10! And yes, it is kind of like the A10. The downside is you can't spool up the gun when you're firing it, but it's got a very nice size 7 gun, and it will tear through quite a fair amount of things. The issue, of course, is that this ship is designed primarily for fucking over medium to larger style ships. The moment you start dogfighting anything smaller, or like a snubcraft or anything, you're going to start running into problems. And I hate to say it, but there are better ships out there for that purpose, and they're not nearly as expensive as this one. So, yeah, but still, it's a fantastic ship. And at the moment, I mean, to be fair, during Xenothreat, it came into its own, for sure. Were it not for the fact that Xenothreat was a bit of a pain in the ass. But, you know, of the time, I won't lie, I had a couple of good sessions on Xenothreat, and during those sessions, I was able to do quite a significant bit of damage to the Idris that was flying on. So, it definitely was very good, and you do get a pretty decent visual aspect. Now, bearing in mind, when you're going into the Invictus launch week, the cockpit is slightly bugged, or at least it's in a state where you can't really do anything. So the impression you may receive inside the Victus week may be different than what you may be previous. You know, what you may have whilst you're inside the rental area. So yeah, the Invictus. So the Ares stuff, the Ares Inferno and the Ares Ion are both really damn good ships with really good potential for fucking over medium-sized craft. I reckon this ship will kind of come into its own a little bit more in terms of PvP when you start seeing such things as the Perseus, the Polaris. To a degree, you can kind of get it against its own thing, but currently those two particular ships are capital ship killers. They're not really designed to do anything in terms of dogfighting because they're quite a bulky and heavy aircraft, and they don't really spacecraft. They don't really have the ability, especially in Atmo, to really counter anything smaller than, say, a MISC Freelancer or anything like Cutty Black. You can get, but you struggle. Definitely struggle. Anything that's maneuverable will do circles around you, which is a bit of a shame. So now we get to have a look at the big boys. And, well, obviously everyone knows what these ships are, but for those who don't, of course, we are looking at the Hercules. The C2 Hercules, which is the civilian transport, housing the largest amount of SCU cargo storage you can get in the playable verse. Then we have the M2 variant, which has a military turret and an armory on the side. And then, of course, we have the A2, a version I owned for quite some time, and only recently finally got around to melting it down. I'll go into the reasons why in a minute, but I'll just quickly roll around the I'll roll around the C2 because the M2 is very, very similar, with the exception that the M2 has an additional turret at the front, which of course the C2 doesn't, and it also has slightly less SCU's worth of cargo storage capacity than this particular ship, which is a wee bit of a shame. So the Hercules C2 Starlifter, as mentioned, is the largest it's the largest transport ship that's flyable in game. And in terms of like what she can store, you can get a shit ton of cargo in this thing. So my memory serves correctly, you're looking at about 756, I believe, 756 SCU's worth of cargo. And what's unique, of course, is the fact that you can have there's a driving ramp, there's a cargo ramp at the back and the front of the ship. Like, it's designed to go into a landing zone and kind of become a massive supply depot if necessary, which is pretty damn awesome. It's basically, at this point, the pinnacle transportation craft of any major cargo hauler. Now, this may not be the case in the future when, for example, MISC releases the Hull C series, or the Hull series, you know, goes into further effect, as, of course, those ships are quite famous for having rather vastly larger amounts of cargo space. However, due to them being, you know, external cargo, there may be a bit of a contentious factor towards them. But going into the upper area, you can see this beautiful ship. I do love the architectural style of Crusader. It's the perfect blend between snazzy and show-off and utilitarian. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the engine power light of doom that blinds anyone who doesn't pay attention, which is quite nice. So going into the recreation center, this actually doesn't exist in the military version. The military version of this particular ship has a giant fuck-off armory with a whole host of things. So if you're wanting to make a platoon go down into the planet, then yeah, you're in for a bit of a treat for terms of weaponry. In this case, you've just got a very nice television with a very weird-looking remote and a few other sort of luxuries. There's also a couple of habitation centers over there as well, but we're going to kind of ignore that. Because, actually, no, let's go for a little quick look. Habitation centers, I do believe, more or less the same. I don't think there's much change, if anything. I think there's just more militaristic style stuff for the military variants of these ships, but you've got giant screens and everything. I mean, again, the main purpose of the Hercules series is it's designed to get supplies from A to B as fast and as effective and protected as possible. And of course, the aesthetics of Crusader do not lie. They will make it very, very pretty. I mean, to be fair, Crusader Industries never really lets you down with civilian stuff, with its design philosophy. I love it. I may be biased in that, but I do love it. And unlike, for example, Misk, who has a tendency to have these wonderful things, they don't seem to... like, the cockpit's not so egregious in terms of, like, how far you can see out or how much you can see, whatever. It's not that bad. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not bad. So, there you go. Military spec vessel. Well, civilian initially spec vessel, but of course we do have our military variant. One of which I owned for quite some time, and I was really excited to utilize, but I never actually got round to using it. Or at least, I never felt like I had the reason to use it. And unfortunately, as a result, it's kind of... yeah, it's kind of killed the vibe a bit, I hate to say. Because, well, the thing is, there's not much... at the moment, there's not much need for it. And in all aspects, it's a bit too big for what I'm aiming for. Which sounds ridiculous, but it's true. There is such a thing as too big. And Crusader Industries Hercules are one of those ships that I'm going to have to admit. It's a bit too big for what I'm aiming for. But... let's show you what reason I sort of fell in love with this ship for. I'm a very simple man. And when I see this, I get a big grin on my face. We have got two effective bomb bay doors, housing size 10 Moabs. Yeah. I think the best way to describe these particular weapons is, fuck you, there is nothing left but ash and dust. And possibly the sound of, well, and possibly a bit of glass on the side. Yes, these have size 10 bombs, which you can pretty much decimate an entire area with one of the bombs. During Jumptown, for example, when people were being a bit pleasant, and there was a bit of a weird temporary truce going on, it would not be it would not be, what is it? You wouldn't quite be shocked to see an A2 flying above you, and then all of a sudden, oh god, yeah, it is big. It is big. Ooh, my frames. I do apologize. Unfortunately, during Invictus early launch week, every fucker and their mum wants to come onto the game, which unfortunately does mean that everyone also, unfortunately, the servers get hit pretty bad, and then on top of that, we're on a planet side, so the frames are only going to do so well inside the server, which... So, as we make our way across into the first of the second of the two rooms, we are greeted with the presence of two MSRs. Now, I'm not going to go too crazy in terms of exploration, because, well, we've done that in the previous IAE, and they're not really I'm not overly too fussed about these particular ships. Though, to be fair, they are a really good ship. So I'll give you the rundown of these particular vessels. The MSR, or Mercury Star Runner, was one of the first few ships in the Crusader lineup to head into the game. And it also pioneered a few things in terms of gameplay that are kind of more or less standard now. Being able to have lights in the ship that are user interactable, being able to lock rooms inside the ships is also a feature that the MSR pioneered, if you will. More as a proof of concept than anything. And as a result, the ship has had a very, very positive impact on the community. And a lot of players do like this ship. It has definitely made an impact in the Star Citizen community, as well as of course, in the terms of Star Citizen lore. Obviously, not as big an impact as, say, the Crusader Hercules, but at the same time, it does have a bit of an impact in terms of, though, computer being a bit of a pain in the arse. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do a huge amount on. Come on, game. Behave. So, as we enter into the back of this thing. So, as you can see, there's a huge host of different sort of options for you. Jesus Christ, this light's bright. Ninth. So, as you can see, there are definitely a few options for this particular ship, and it does have a pretty decent sized cargo bay. You can easily transport some ground vehicles into it, and I'm sure as Crusader Industries gets its own ground fleet going, you'll be able to fit a whole bunch of vehicles into there as well. So there's a whole host of decent benefits towards wait, what the... Oh, okay. So I just saw that really stupid looking cape. But no, in terms of, like, what this ship represents to me, I'm kind of meh about it. Like, again, it's one of those ships that doesn't really have a huge amount of benefits to me because, well, I'm more or less a solo pilot. There's not really much you can do with it. But if you're trying to play if you're into Star Citizen and you've got some friends who you regularly hop onto for a week, the MSR definitely does the trick for you because, again, you've got decent cargo supply. It's got that state data tracking thing, which, to be fair, in the near future, we're going to start seeing some missions that are going to be made available for data tracking and storage. So the other addition on this ship, which if you can see, I don't think you can see on the top. It's on the left-hand side, admittedly. Oh, no, so the right-hand side. Or is it the left? Have they moved it? I can't see it. Well, I think on the left-hand side... my right-hand side of the ship, there is a radar dish, or a satellite dish, which you can use to track signals. And eventually, I'm thinking the MSR will have those dishes to track and be able to... you'll be able to do some data missions where you're harvesting data and sending it abroad. So, you know, all in all, really good for future concepts. But for what I'm aiming for, it's not really quite there yet. It's not like a ship that I would say, ooh, I'm definitely going to go for that. It definitely feels more like a ship. Come on, Star Citizen, behave. Come on now. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you play the game and it doesn't like your computer, even though you spent a large amount of money. There you go. Behave. I feel like I've got a dog on a leash here. You just pull the thing whenever it stops moving. Anyway, let's now head over to the next room where we actually get to see a ship that I've on purpose not looked at, so you can try and get as a original reaction as possible. As we make our way towards the glorious new ships, we are presented with this goddamn beauty. Oh, I love it. This is, of course, the F8 Lightning. This fucking beautiful ship with the livery of the 999 Squadron on board just looks absolutely gorgeous and is a very, very well designed. This is basically the F8 Lightning, which we'll possibly see once again inside on Anvil Day, is basically Anvil's response to the Vandal. The F8 Lightning is basically an improvement over the Hornet, which has been, the Hornet's been in service for a few hundred years now, and the issue with the Vandal fleets is that there's nothing really powerful enough to sort of take on these particular ships. So what they've done is the geniuses over at Anvil Aeronautics have basically gone, you know what, let's make life a little better for everyone by doing this, and they basically made the ships nimbler. They made them more durable. They've given them more weapons to work from, and they look glorious too. Oh, I can't wait. I just can't wait. They are the best, and I love them. Love it. Right, let's head off into the next room. Just rapidly tried to kill certain processes to give me every inch of processing power, which I think actually it's done a pretty good job. So we now enter into the room of Misk, and there's a whole host of different ships available. One or two ships that are now available that I am seeing for the very first time. Is the new ship coming out of Misk, or is this Mirai? Because Mirai is actually a new ship developer, or an offshoot of Misk, and we are being introduced. So this is the Mirai. So this is Mirai as a company. So this is the new snub fighter, the Fury. Let's have a look. I've been doing my best to avoid looking at this in all these screens, because all the things that friends of mine saying. This is a very weird-looking ship. See, this is the reason why I like doing these events, because I get to look at ships I've never seen before, and I always like having that blind moment. This is obviously the big thing with this particular ship, from what I can imagine, because Misk and Mirai are most likely are benefiting from the like Misk is one of the few companies that has they're basically a company that utilizes alien technology. Now, I'm trying to remember if it was the Xi'an whose technology we're utilizing here, or if it was another specific nation, another specific race. But I'm thinking it's the Xi'an. I know Consolidated Outlands has also got a contract with the Xi'an as well. But this thing's intriguing. What does that say? Featuring the best-in-class maneuverability, cutting edge. Oh, it is Xi'an Tech, yeah. The next generation of snub kite fighters using 4 halo-mounted sights. What? I'm sorry. Size 4? Are you fucking with me? Come on, computer. Don't piss about. Are you serious? Size 4? I mean, I probably should have looked at the weapons, but... Just... What? I'm sorry. That doesn't compute. Size 4 weapons? What in the Emperor? And I'm guessing you're all missiles, aren't you? Yeah. Jesus Christ. I mean, this is definitely a snub fighter. I can't see any other thing for it. There's the power plant. There's the... Jesus Christ. You know what? I'm renting this. Seriously, I am renting this ship. I am curious. I might even have a bit after this, after the main stay of this episode. I've got to see what this thing's like. What in the god? Fucking hell. So this is the new ship. Okay, we're going to see someone else hopping into it just to see what it looks like. Looks really weird. Okay. Its view must be unparalleled. I can really see that. I can also see the different shield. I can see or estimate the yeah, this is probably something that would you're not supposed to flip out, is it? Yeah, no, this is probably something that you would not get out, but holy shit. I think we've got a contender for the Buccaneer here in terms of, like, fuck-off firepower. 4 size 4s. Sorry, the implications for 4 size 4 fixed weapons is ridiculous. Because bearing in mind, right, this is the stock loadout, and that, no doubt, has got to be a fucking size 2 or 3 missile. And I'm daring to say it's size 2. Actually, no, I've got the stats on... I need to click on the thing. Right, I've actually got the stats of this thing on the next screen. Right, so what weaponry we got? So yes, 4 size 2. It's fucking size 2 missiles, I think. Yeah, size 2s. So we've got 4 size 4. Jesus Christ. That's scary. Is it 4 size 4? Can't possibly be. 4 halo-mounted size 4 repeaters to redefine... That can't be size 4. That has to be size 2. There must be a mistranslation here. It can't be size 4. I mean, it would be bollocks if it was. Have I misread that or something? I feel like there's a bit of mistranslation. Halo-mounted size 4 repeaters. Yeah, no, it's size 2. It can't possibly be size 4. Well, we're going to be having a look at this, though, no doubt, when I'm flying about, because holy shit. So anyway, enough about that. We've got an MX version, which is Giantech 20 Halo-mounted missions during short range. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you got a whole host of missiles there, definitely. It's literally missile upon missile upon missile. Jesus Christ. Alright, suppose we should probably have a little crack in the pilot seat. So that's going to open up, a bit like the mounting rig for that. And we're now going to hop into the side of this thing. Right, very basic heads-up display, but looks very, very nice. And yeah, actually surprisingly not that great a view. To be honest, like, I would have thought inside the ship it would have been ridiculous in terms of, like, maneuverability. Or, sorry, viewability, because, like, you've got all of the different... You've got a very Xi'an-like glass exterior, but it doesn't actually feel that way. It looks a bit restrictive in that regard. Maybe if once we leave the ship and we sort of go into an actual vessel itself, maybe it has its maybe when you sort of remove the landing gear, it kind of is a bit more visually pleasing. A bit like, you know, if you, for example, you see the Kartu Al, you've got the benefit of if you can fly the ship when you get out of the landing bay, it actually has a few other things. But no, that's ridiculous. That is, honest to God, ridiculous. I can't be right. Size 4 weapons on that would be ridiculous. That has to be size 2. There must be a mistype in there. I mean, size 2 is still, for a ship of that size, 4 size 2 repeaters is ridiculous in terms of power. Considering that that's a very small ship, you could easily store like about 5 or 6 of those things inside the hut. You could get into an 890 jump, basically, and store a whole bunch of those in there. You know, that's how ridiculous that is. Anyway, going on into the next sort of, or the last sort of phase before we hit the holodeck. This is, of course, the Misk ship, which is going to Mirai now? No, the Razor is apparently staying with Misk. The Razor is basically a racing ship, like a Formula 1 style racing ship, which, yeah, it does. It looks nice. I won't lie. It's out of all the sort of... out of all the smallish sort of ships, this one is probably like number 2, in my opinion, for like nicest looking ships. The only other ship that I would say that beats that is the Origin ship. But that's about it, really. Oh, so that's what these things will look like. That looks so weird. But size 4. Jesus Christ. I have to... Yeah, like, I'm going to have to seriously question how that works, because, Jesus, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, going on into the next one, of course, we're talking about the Reliant series. Now, normally, the Reliant has quite a fair amount of versions, but we're going to go with the Reliant Tanner, as that's the more militaristic style ship. The Reliant series is an interesting ship design. It's one of the more unique things about Misk that definitely will... yeah, that will definitely sort of... it's definitely for the more niche community in regards to that. Basically, the ship's... the design of the Tana is it's kind of got a very open cockpit. And the concept is once you take off in this ship, you can basically flip it up and, you know, you can turn it into a B-wing, basically, which is pretty cool. And it does have a few host of decent weaponry as well. But there are multiple versions of this ship. And obviously you do have unparalleled vision when it comes to the pilot side of the ship, which is very, very nice. Then, of course, we have the Starfarer Gemini. Going on into that, which, yeah, it's basically Star Citizen's first real attempt at a big ship, and it kind of crashed and burned in a sort of sense. But this ship has kind of got a bit of a happy ending now, as while for years it was kind of just there, sitting there doing jack all. It then finally got a job in, I believe, patch 17, 3.17 with the ability to refuel ships. And now this ship is 100%... Well, this ship now has a functionality. The Starfarer Gemini is basically a militaristic version of the ship with the chin-mounted missile launchers, which is pretty cool. I should probably go into a little bit more detail regarding the the Razor and the Tanner. Supposedly, the Razor series of ships is actually going to be moved into the Mirai company, supposedly. Of the latest stars, I think not the latest, but the week prior Star Citizen, Inside Star Citizen was briefly talking about Mirai as a spaceship company, and one of the ships series that they were supposedly meant to be doing is going to be adding the Razor into it, because the Mirai is apparently a performance company, so that's where they're going to be getting sent to. The Tana series is still going to be staying with Misk, and there are many different versions. And I should have mentioned as well, when it comes to the Tana series, it's also considered a starter ship with the ability to have some pretty unique gameplay options. And to be honest with you, it does look like a very nice ship. Probably not the kind of ship I would go for. If I was getting into Star Citizen, this would definitely be one of the ships I'd be looking into. I wasn't really aware of the Tana series when I first started, the Reliance series, when I was first starting. So this definitely would have been on my list of I'd like to have gotten this ship when I started. But in terms of like ships that I would want to utilize post getting into Star Citizen, I wouldn't really say so, because again, the unique characteristics of this ship makes flying it a bit of a bitch. Definitely, to say the least, but still. So yeah, I would say the Reliant series does have a very large amount of different versions, so definitely look into this one. And we did have quite an extensive look during Invictus, the IAE event, so definitely have a look at that. We'll be definitely looking at them again during IAE. But of course, going on into the ship with many variants, and unfortunately this variant I have, which I say unfortunately because I don't like it, is of course the Freelancer Miss. Now, the Freelancer Miss is quite a simple concept. What if we turned a pretty standard-ish transport vessel, like, you know, for a solo player, and said, fuck you, missile spam? And you've got a pretty accurate estimate on where that comes from. So yes, this is a vessel designed and dedicated to the purpose of fucking over its immediate surroundings with missiles, which is rather intriguing. Well, you know, it's got a large amount of missiles. It's a more militaristic version of the Freelancer. And it's okay. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of the Freelancer Miss. I kind of feel like there's only one really good version of the Freelancer series, which is the Freelancer Max. I've owned a Freelancer for quite some time, and while I didn't have negative memories, there's one particular reason why I fucking hate this ship. Well, no, there's two. The first reason is this, right fucking here. This is the worst designed turret system in the ship's lifespan. And I really wish that they would redesign this ship so that this fucking turret system that has two struts that can't fucking move... I wish that they would move this turret system, which not only causes problems to pilots because they want to get to the bloody back of their ship and they have to ram their faces into the goddamn door to be able to ensure that it opens, but that they also, it means that any vehicle that they want to drive into, there's a lot of things that you can't do because the fucking turret's there. Driving vehicles into it, nope, turret's there. Doing useful things like like other shit, like cargo and shit, no, turret's there. It just has many problems. And what's worse, the docking collar, which is supposedly, I think the docking collar, which is here, doesn't actually do anything. Well, it's the docking collar, sure, but like, they could have found a better place to put it, like on the fucking side of the damn ship, rather than the upper bit. And you could have put the turret here, and you wouldn't have any problems. You really wouldn't. Anyway, so apart from that, what's the other problem? Well, the other problem with this ship is that while it has a very nice looking cockpit with a very nice looking chair with some very nice looking holographic displays, you need a pair of binoculars to see out the front of your goddamn ship, because look at the distance. It's fucking ridiculous. Look at it. I could lay a fucking picnic table out there and everyone could have a bloody room to spare. I'd have to invite an entire family of 12 before I could have enough space filled. Jesus Christ. And unfortunately, unfortunately, I own this vessel. Well, I don't own this vessel, to be truthfully told. I've got a loaner in the form of this vessel. And I'll be giving you a reason as to why I'm doing that when we get there. But at the moment, apart from my computer being a bit of a bitch when it comes to Star Citizen recording, here we go. Always remember to insult the computers, and then it works. They say you should speak nicely to your computers, but the more you say, you stupid fucking piece of garbage, I spent so much goddamn money on you, get your ass into gear, get working, come on, I know you, there you go. See what I mean? Violence and anger, it works, just not as well as you'd think. So anyway, that's the new variety of ships made by MISC freelancers and whatnot, and also that is the new display ships of the Mirai, which, I'm not going to lie, it's a very nice looking ship. Well, sort of. I'm not 100% convinced of the aesthetics, to be brutal. Oh, good lord. Fucking hell game, come on. Come on, you useless fuck! Alright, you asked for it. Come on, you stupid piece of garbage computer. Crappy game with its stupid lagging produced things because every cunt and their mother wants to come on. Come on. There we go. That's it. You can load those textures that I literally was around 5 seconds ago. God almighty, the recording software is taking the beating. Anyway. There we go. There's the server problems. As said, the server's going to be taking a bit of a beating. Everyone's going to be hopping on now. It's literally, at the time of the recording, it's about 6 o'clock, which means every fucker and their mum is jumping on Star Citizen, which means the desyncs, the servers, everyone's running in, going, oh my god, the ships are there. And then they do that. So, apologies for any major issues caused. There is very little I can do. I don't have a god-tier computer, so you're going to have to occasionally put up with frame stutters and low frames per second, but believe you me, it's as irritating to me as it might be to you. So let's now go down to the holographic display tent, or the display section, and see what is in store for the future of Crusader Industries. So, we return to the downstairs. I was just looking around some of the displays. One of them was actually kind of interesting. This is a Vandal scythe, I believe the term is, with some pretty nice looking gear. I think this is an old image as well of the scythe. Very Xeno-esque style. Admiral Misha is engaged in valiant war against the merciless Vandal. These monstrous aliens are identical. So yes, Admiral Bishop, who is currently flying around somewhere, portrayed by Gary Oldman, which is really fucking awesome. I'm looking forward to Squadron 42. It definitely is. When it eventually releases, it better fucking be good. But holy shit, I'm looking forward to it. But I've just noticed there's some really good artwork. So yes, we've got the. To be fair, I'm thinking what this is probably the Xenothreat event going on, where you've got Xenothreat attempting to attack and destroy the Javelin, and then of course there is the usability of Crusader Industries vehicles with a Dumble Nova in the Dumble Cyclone, the background there. But I'm curious as to how those things are. A patch soon in the future. Anyway, so we're going to go now to wrap up today's episode by heading into the holographic display onto a ship that I kind of hoped would come in the Invictus launch week, but unfortunately we're not going to be seeing probably until, if I'm being optimistic, IAE, but realistically possibly till next year. I am of course talking about the Crusader A1, or the Spirit series, one of which being the A1. This, I believe, is the A1. Yes, the A1. So the A1 is basically the ship that I currently own. It's one of the few sort of concept ships that I've got in my pocket, and it does look very, very nice. It's still in grey box, unfortunately, but basically, I'm hoping that because of the ships, because Crusader Industries are fairly common now, and we've got it's working off a similar template. You can see it's got the front end of a MSR. You've got certain things. It's like an MSR, but it's kind of slightly reduced, and it's got like the side wings of a. It's got the side wings of an Ares, So I'm hoping it's going to be good. But no, if we're talking about the certain specifics, the A1 is similar in set scope to the Hercules series, where you've got the A1, the B1. I think it's the A1 and the M1 and the... Which versions do we have? We've got the C1 and the E1. Is it E1? Yes, E1. So yeah, you can have the E1 Spirit, which is the luxury liner. You've got the C1 Spirit, which is obviously which is like a cargo vessel. And as mentioned, this is the A1, which is supposedly going to have some bomb mounts as well, which is pretty nice. And it looks like an absolute beauty of a ship. And again, the big sort of win factor here is the fact that this particular vessel has it's big. It's not so big that you can't really fly. It's not like, for example, the Hercules, where there's a big fuck off engine with big weapons on it. It's like, yeah, the big weapons are nice, but this one's nimble. This one's small enough. This one's just right in terms of size, and I definitely am looking forward to giving it a bit of a crack once it sort of comes out, and I'm very much excited for that. I'm guessing this one is this is the Hercules A1 Spirit. So you can see it in its grey box, it's got some pretty cool design niches to it. It's got a couple of turrets at the rear. It's got a turret to the rear, hopefully remote controlled. It looks very, very nice. I'm not going to lie. It does look very, very nice. And as part of the Crusader Industries sort of lineup, it's a very sleek vessel. You see, you can got missile mounts as well for it as well. So yeah, as like combat, as like a ship goes, I would say that that's the largest I'm probably going to go in terms of combat. Because again, I'm not much of a big group person. So like, for me, this is going to be more than less perfect. And that probably will be very much one of my daily flyers, for sure. Because it has the capacity to do a lot of damage and also be one of those ships that you can just do quite a fair amount in without requiring too much. You don't have to sort of alternate between the twos. So no, it's a very, very nice looking ship, and I very much look forward to having it. I just hope we can have it by the end of this year, rather than what I fear maybe early next year, or God forbid next Invictus launch week. But still, that is going to unfortunately have to wrap things up for day one of Invictus launch week. Now, don't forget, guys, I'm going to do my utmost to upload everything as fast and as humanly as possible. However, of course, work is going to always be the first thing. So, what's most likely going to happen is some days I might be able to upload an episode a day as the day evolves, or it might be that I'll have to wait until tomorrow when I can fully upload it to then be able to get it up. So either way, it's going to take a little bit longer than usual. And unfortunately, with the whole recording thing, I can't guarantee that the recording quality will be perfect because, well, as you've seen in bits of my video already... As you can see right in front of me, someone decided to phase through reality. So, as said, I will do my utmost to give you as best a quality as possible, but if the server is saying, there's not really a lot we can do about that. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this rather lengthy but wonderful video, and I'm going to finish this video off by heading over to a non-area players and have a little bit of a go around in the new ship, the Misk Freery. Let's have a look, shall we? So, a little bit later, we arrive on Bajini Point, looking at just the sheer size of this thing. It is absolutely tiny. Now, I've actually done a little bit more research into this vessel, and I was correct. It was, in fact, size 2 fixed, which... yeah, it makes sense. It's a size 2 fixed weapon. Why would you have size 4? That's definitely a mistype, but still. But no, the thing that really impresses me is the sheer size of it. It is tiny. It is abysmally tiny. And one of the promotion images that really set it off was the fact that it was getting loaded into the back of a Misk Freelancer Max, which just makes me laugh completely. So, without further ado, my first ever flight in this thing. Does it have shields? No shields? Okay, there is shields. I was a little bit concerned. Right, let's do a little bit of a lift off just to see how she feels.
Landing complete. Have a
Ooh,
pleasant stay.
very
You are
responsive.
clear to launch.
Landing gear up.
Very nice. Right, so Jesus Christ.
Thank you, and please visit again.
That is ridiculous levels of maneuverability. You have to be putting your you're going to be having to put through your paces with this ship. I mean, the amount of lasers options are very limited. But 1,200 meters per second. Jesus. This thing is ridiculous. Obviously, I can't really do a comprehensive flight test. But holy God. Jesus Christ. In the hands of a decent pilot, this thing is going to be absolutely terrifying. Like, Jesus. See how she can fare. Right, about. Jesus. Jesus, the responsibility of the responsiveness of this ship is ridiculous. Dare I try it? Jesus Christ. Yeah. This thing. Holy mother of God. This thing is ridiculous. I can't really describe it into words just how terrifying this a concept of ship that this is. I mean, bearing in mind, this is the kind of ship that, with an experienced combat pilot, sure, it only has size 2 weapons. They have limited traverse. The weapon, you know, it's a snub fighter. Its survivability is almost 0, but you get someone who knows what they're doing, they can get this thing to work for you. And bearing in mind, it's a quad size 2 weapons. And better still, if you can get size 2 ballistics, that'll be ridiculous. I can't believe it. I'm just mesmerized by the flying capacity of this ship. It is so goddamn maneuverable. And bearing in mind, there's the trailers as well that sort of highlight the intricacies of this thing. But fucking hell, this is... Like, the pilot really has to work his ass off not to get, you know, slammed into by this. But just the sheer spectacle of this thing. Just drifting around the Spagini Point. What do you want about? Kind of wish I had my track IR on at this point. I took it off. This is, Jesus Christ. Oh. Yeah, no. Oh my God. This is incredible. And does it stop on it? It stops on a dime. Just going to go right next to this new player. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I have never seen such a maneuverable fighter before. This, you know, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those ships that we'll probably see in racing events, without a doubt. And not only will we see it, you know, in racing events, but this will probably be the... I mean, I'm overhyping it maybe, but you know, you get a feeling that this ship is going to be a little bit more impactful than what most things are. Like, you can get some ships you can go, oh yeah, that's a pretty decent ship, or oh, this is a pretty okay ship. I genuinely believe, and to a degree I kind of would hope, that this kind of ship makes snub fighters a thing to utilize, especially since going into, for example, going into such ventures as the Pyro system, the concept of having let's see, retract. Yeah, there we go. The concept of having the... Hang on, let me just land this thing. The issue with snub fighters is up until this point, they haven't really been very easy to work with in terms of, like, viability. Like, for example, the Kruger. It's a pretty decent snub fighter and probably has a level of survivability a bit more. And is definitely an interpretation of one form of... one form of snub fighter. But it wasn't really that practicable because there wasn't really a huge amount of... they weren't really small. They weren't small enough. Whereas this thing, you could fit about 5 of these things into an 890 jump. In fact, you know what? I'm going to say even more than that. I'm going to shout 10. Like, I'm seriously looking forward to Spirit of the Law's video regarding on how many you can fit on this, because I think this is going to be a new measurement for sure. How many Furies can you fit inside a ship? You know? We've got the PTV for vehicles, and now we've got the bloody Fury for ships. It's ridiculous. But there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Bit of a lengthy video, this. I do appreciate it's kind of a long one. But I hope you guys enjoy it, and hope to see you guys in the next episode, whereupon we'll be talking about Aegis. Because Aegis and its wonderful ships, which I'm planning on getting a few. I will finally be in a position to get it. At least, you know, money provided. But still, optimism. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, let me know in the comment section down below, clicking on the like button, and of course subscribing to the channel. And if you like this stuff and you want to start looking into Star Citizen seriously, there are a couple of links I will post into the description below. The first being a link to RSI Star Citizen for that, as well as the Invictus Launch Week. There's also my code, my referral code, which if you decide to hop into Star Citizen and purchase a pack, feel free to use that code, and you get yourself 5,000 Alpha UEC to start with, in addition to whatever current package you may purchase. So, I will catch you all in the next one. This is Mr. Jaeger signing out. Hopefully the frames in the next episode will be good. I'll catch you next time.